The book Ikigai became a worldwide bestseller, selling over 5 million copies, which was one of the catalysts that led to Japanese word Ikigai becoming known worldwide. In fact, according to a survey I conducted at X, about 46% of the 282 people who responded knew the meaning of this word. So, how is the Japanese word ikigai understood in the book mentioned above? A word close to the Japanese word ikigai is the French raison d'être, which means meaning of existence or a reason for existence. But this word is also made up of two words and was originally a philosophical term. It is not a word that has been used casually in everyday life since ancient times, like the Japanese word ikigai. There does not appear to be any foreign word that can express the same meaning as ikigai in just one word. According to this book, ikigai is understood to be the answer to the questions, what is the meaning of my life? And what is the secret to a long and happy life? This book states that while some Japanese people have already found ikigai, and others are still searching for it, Japanese people believe that it is very important to have it. However, for Japanese people, ikigai does not mean something as grand as the meaning or purpose of life, but is also a more casual, everyday word. Some people may feel ikigai in the cup of coffee they drink every morning. Others may say, singing karaoke is my ikigai. However, doesn't the phrase singing karaoke is the meaning of my life sound a little strange? In other words, the meaning of the Japanese word ikigai is quite broad and there is no exact translation. A few weeks ago, I met up with some friends from my college days for the first time in a long time and had a great time. Chatting with these good old friends is one of my ikigai. However, I don't feel like that is my purpose in life. By the way, a few days after meeting them, I suddenly thought of asking these friends, what is your ikigai online? We are all around 75 or 76 years old. Below are the answers they gave me. First answer. My ikigai is to spread the two language learning methods I created. 1. The English method I created is a method to make Japanese people speak English. When Japanese people can speak English, they become more positive. 2. The Japanese method is a method to make English-speaking people speak Japanese. When they can speak Japanese, they suppress their individualistic desires and become kinder. The reason the world is in such a state of chaos right now is because the mission of Western civilization has ended. That is why we need to find new principles of civilization through the exchange of language. My ikigai is to put this mission into practice. Second answer. My current ikigai is to effectively use social media to let the world know more about Japanese culture, to interact with people from all over the world online, and to improve my English skills in order to do so. Also, feeling my English skills improving, even if only little by little, is another part of my daily ikigai. As for the third person, he did not give a direct answer, but his way of life itself is enough to guess his ikigai. After retiring from a general company, he studied social welfare design at graduate school from age 63 to 69 and completed his doctoral course. It seems that he continues to contribute to society in this field. Fourth answer. What I try to do is stay young and seek pleasure. Don't get old, and not in the literal sense of travel, but figuratively, I want to be a traveler who seeks fun. The fifth answer. This was a fairly long answer. In the first half, he explains how several Japanese words, including ikigai, are deeply rooted in the philosophy and way of life of Japanese people. I will skip this part because it is difficult to translate. In any case, he explains that the word ikigai is difficult to explain simply because it is related to Japanese culture as a whole and the Japanese way of life itself, and goes on to say, one of my ikigai is to explore what Japanese philosophy and Japaneseness are. As mentioned above, these 5 people, including myself, are over 75 years old. Yet each of us has our own clear theme that we continue to pursue. Like me, the other 4 probably don't feel the need to re-examine it with the word ikigai. However, each of us certainly feels ikigai in the pursuit of our own theme, and there is no need to be particularly conscious of it as ikigai. By the way, I haven't intentionally shown who in the photo gave which answer, but I think you can probably guess from the vibe of each person gives off. Like us, many Japanese people do not always live with ikigai in mind. If asked what is your ikigai, they might remember what their ikigai is. However, Japanese people have a unique approach to life that is deeply rooted in tradition. This approach is particularly evident in the lifestyles of various craftsmen, but ordinary Japanese people have inherited this tradition to a greater or lesser extent. It is an approach that strives to hone one's professional skills to the fullest. They see the improvement of skills and personal growth as inseparable. In other words, they see the workplace as a place not only for the improvement of skills, but also for personal growth. And many Japanese people tend to find ikigai in this. Let me give you an example. In Japanese restaurants overseas, you can enjoy most of the typical Japanese dishes such as sushi, tempura, and ramen, all in one restaurant. However, in Japan, there are overwhelmingly more restaurants that specialize in a particular dish, such as sushi restaurants, soba restaurants, and ramen shops. Sushi chefs take pride in their work and strive to provide the highest quality sushi possible. Ramen chefs also strive to provide the most delicious ramen possible. They all take pride in their work as professional chefs, and in many cases they find ikigai in their work, even if they are not conscious of the word. Let me give you a more general example. Foreign tourists who visit Japan are often impressed by the high quality of customer service in various stores, transportation, public institutions, etc. One of the reasons for the high quality of service in Japan is that people in each workplace often take professional pride in their work. They also strive to provide the best service they can, and they often find pride and ikigai in that. Of course, there are many Japanese who find no pride or ikigai in their work. However, it is also true that there are a relatively large number of Japanese who approach any job with professionalism and pride. One of the reasons Japanese products are trusted around the world is that behind each product lies this kind of attitude towards work. In Japan, there has been a tradition of craftsmanship where, as an expert in one's field, one wants to improve one's skills as much as possible and through that grow as a person. Modern Japanese people have more or less inherited this traditional attitude towards life. In my next post, I would like to explore in more depth the Japanese way of life in relation to ikigai and in relation to Japanese traditions. Finally, let's practice some Japanese sentences using the word ikigai. 毎朝飲む一杯のコーヒーは私の生きがいだ。毎朝飲む一杯のコーヒーは私の生きがいだ。カラオケで歌うことが私の生きがいです。カラオケで歌うことが私の生きがいです。私は生きがいを探しています。私は生きがいを探しています。